Hello and welcome everybody to Paris Squared, second installment. We will be playing Threefold, which is based on the modern age system, so we will be rolling 3d6s. If you're interested in the system, please visit the Green Ronin website. It's an excellent system. You can get the PDF also on Drive-Thru RPG, and we can really recommend the system. So, you have had a day's sleep and then a good night's sleep. You have been trying to relax after your ordeal, which definitely was an ordeal. It is now 8 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. You hear the doorbell ring.
I will very grumpily get up. Mm-hmm. Crawl down the stairs. No, not really, but I will just slumpily move down. Her hair probably standing in all directions, and will just carefully look through the peephole before I open the door, just looking on who it is.
It's a member of the French postal services.
I will open the door.
Bonjour. I've got a registered letter for one Isabelle Martin.
That would be me.
No, it's
I'm
not.
I'm not awaiting a package.
You are Amélie Dubois. Just saying.
Which name was it?
Isabelle Martin.
Isabelle. Yes, sure. If I'm allowed to sign for her.
Sure. Do you have ID?
Yes.
Okay, so
Wait
because
a minute.
he needs to verify who is signing for it.
She will run upstairs. Mm-hmm. She will get her ID from her handbag, and she will go downstairs again and show him the ID.
Mm-hmm. So you sign with your name, Amélie Dubois, mm-hmm. and he hands you an envelope, which is kind of like cream colored, and it's kind of like this. Excuse me. This heavy embossed.
Drink something.
Excuse me. This heavy cream-colored embossed envelope, and it mm-hmm. is addressed to her, mm-hmm. and and it's been sent by the auction house. Because when you did the auction and when you signed for your paddle, you gave her name because you were buying whatever it was that you were going to buy, namely the book, in her name. So this envelope is now addressed to her. Do you open it, or do you wait for her to?
I will not open it. Mm-hmm. I will put it on the kitchen table.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'll wish, first of all, the postman a thank you and a good day. Mm-hmm. And then I will put it on the kitchen table, where I usually lay down postage or whatever comes in. And I will start to make coffee. Mm-hmm. Or see if coffee is already made. I could imagine that maybe at least Isabelle is already up.
Yes, somebody has made coffee, and you can. I mean, this is Paris, and it's a house. Do you think you have something like a tiny backyard kind of thing?
I think so. Yes, not much, but enough to have like a table and a few chairs there.
Yeah, of course. So basically you hear rummaging and something falls over outside, and then you hear, come down there! Why are you sitting on that tree? You know it's so difficult for you to come down. Do you need me to come up? Do you want me to get the ladder? I'm gonna come and get you, but then no tuna for you tonight.
Is it Isabelle or is it Nicolas?
It's Isabelle.
Okay. I will wait with the coffee. I will move towards the backyard and we'll just peek out and be like, good morning.
Good morning. She basically doesn't even look at you. She keeps looking at the tree.
You got a package, or rather a thick envelope delivered. It might be the book. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, Toulouse is up the tree. Again.
You want to have a look at the envelope? I will keep an eye on the troublemaker.
Yes, because I need to get the ladder anyway. So she walks back in.
I will stay outside.
Noise. Toulouse is looking down at you. He's totally relaxed. He's cleaning himself. He's preening. He's smiling at you. He thinks he's done a fantastic job.
Oh God! I just see a black dot moving at the wall behind. I'm just like, not another spider. Amelie will look up quite displeased and will be like, why are you doing this to any of us? You want us to break our necks just because you are up there and then you're too stupid to get down? Don't be proud of this. This is nothing to be proud of. Come on.
He heard the word stupid. He gives you a withering look.
Well, show me you're not stupid by climbing down, because so far you've never managed to do that part.
You hear noises from inside. The door is pushed open. You hear scraping noises. Do you turn around?
Yeah, I would be like, let me help you, and I should climb up, not you.
Isabel
but maybe
is
we should
carrying the ladder.
try to do we have some milk or tuna?
I'm not gonna. If we give him milk or tuna now, this is like rewarding this kind of behavior. We're not gonna do that. I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna grab him by the scruff of his neck and I'm gonna take him down.
Which is exactly what he wants. Attention.
We can't just let him sit here.
Maybe we just grab a nice coffee and we sit at the table. Have a little talk. And we can still keep an eye on him.
All right. She says, well, we need to talk about the letter anyway. It's from the auction house. They say that we can pick up the book whenever. So maybe you could go there today and just pick it up. They're just informing us that everything is in order and we need to pay. So you will take the money or you will take a check. And then you hand over the check and we get the book and the paperwork that proves that we are the owners and we have now bought it fair and square.
Isabel can definitely see the hesitation in Amelie.
Is something wrong?
I'm honestly not sure I want to go back there.
Oh, well, I can go there as well. It's not a problem.
Amelie's like, with what we went through. No, Isabel should not be there. No, it's fine. Maybe Nicola would like to join me?
Sure. You can take the car. It's better because you will be transporting something that is of some value.
That would probably be good. Do you want to keep an eye on him and I will grab us coffee?
Mm-hmm. She sits down. She keeps looking at him. He keeps eyeing her, but kind of like in this nonchalant cat way. He keeps cleaning himself and, he's having a grand old time.
I will grab coffee the way we both like to drink it and maybe a little something, whatever we have for breakfast. And then I will come back with
There are croissants in the kitchen. Fresh croissants.
Croissants. And I will come back with a...
Tray?
Called? Tray, thank you. With the tray, just balancing everything and just plonk it on the table. And then he really does not deserve the attention. I called him stupid because he doesn't know how to get down again.
Meow.
Amelie will not even look. We'll just basically talk upwards. Well, you are stupid. You're still not down here.
Isabel starts, she has the envelope and she shows it to you and you read the letter as well, And while you're having your breakfast, neither of you is actually paying any attention to the cat. The cat keeps meowing but Isabel has kind of managed to be persuaded by you not to pay him any mind. And then at some point you hear noises, and he climbs down. He walks past you, looks at you, turns his head in a huff, walks past you, walks into the house, ignores you completely, and Isabel as well.
Well, not as stupid as we thought.
He's just very spoiled.
Well, they are very loved. And most of them behave well enough. He is sometimes using that for an excuse. But at least we know he can get down without problems if he really
Yeah, we
wants
don't
to.
really have to worry about this anymore. I mean, because he can't get... Because I imagine that this is actually one of those backyards that is completely built up on either side. So there are other houses that don't have windows to the backyard because they have their own... So he wouldn't be able to get out, but of course he can sit in the tree. But now we know he can get down. So I needn't worry. Stupid cat.
He's still adorable.
Yeah, and he knows it.
Mm-hmm.
He knows it. So, all right, I suppose that they will be open probably as of 10 p.m., so at 10 a.m., so maybe you should just...
10 p.m.? What? I need to go there by night?
at night in the museum.
No, at the auction house. Well, then I will wait until Nicola is up, because I suspect he's still asleep, and then we can see when he has time to go for a short ride.
Yeah. I'm actually going to wake up that good-for-nothing nephew of mine, because, he can also take a couple of things in the shop today that need to be moved. So she gets up, and she presumably goes to wake up her nephew.
I will drink the last sip of my coffee, and then I will put everything back on the tray and bring the tray in the kitchen and clean everything up. Make it tidy again, and then I will go upstairs, take a shower, get dressed.
As you get back down again, Nicola is sitting at the table inside, bleary-eyed, and probably late night. I mean, he is very young, isn't he? He's kind of like...
I think he's younger than I am. Did I make him younger? I think I made him
Yeah, he's
younger.
22 years old. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a little younger than you are.
By a year, which is a big difference.
And then he's like, so we're going to go to the museum. That's fine.
Auction house.
Auction house, yeah, whatever. And he keeps drinking his coffee. And his aunt has stopped fussing over him. The fact that he doesn't have breakfast and that he doesn't eat anything. She's like, okay, well then there are more croissants for me. And she just keeps eating his croissant because he's not touching anything. Because he's had a late night. He went to a concert.
But
So-
Amelie will then... How was yesterday? Worth being hungover tired today?
Don't talk so loudly.
Was it worth it? Tell me.
It was great.
What
It
did
was
you
this
say?
this punk rock band with the lead singer, the one that looks like Chrissy Hind.
Yes.
Yeah, she's super, and they're very tight gig.
That sounds like a fun time.
Maybe I shouldn't have had the 7th beer.
Your body just needs slowly wake up and a little bit of fresh air.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have time to wake up slowly. Times are wasting, young man. Times are wasting. And she isn't really... She claps her hands really loudly. He's like, ow, ow, ow. And he gets up. He's very tall, 190, but at the moment he looks more like 170 because he's completely hunched over. He's
Darling,
pale.
you know that when you're a little bit hungover, you need to eat something. If not, you will suffer for much longer. We will get you something hearty along the way. I get that croissant is not the nice. You need something really hearty. We will. Do we need anything else from the supermarket, Isabel? We can make a stop there and buy a few things.
She just points silently at the wall where there's kind of like a little
Shopping list.
yeah. So she's got a little blackboard with chalk, and then there's kind of like she's written down a couple of things. Yeah.
I'll make a screen or a picture with my phone.
It's so funny. I would have actually taken out a piece of paper and written it down. I would never have thought of taking a picture. That's
I am
so
too lazy to
logical.
write
Yeah.
in this case.
Yeah.
Although if you write it, you at least have the chance to scratch it off if it's online. But she will just take a picture lazily.
So
Then let's go. Let's get you a little bit of breakfast. Then we'll pick up the book. Then we'll do some shopping.
So he takes you to the nearest supermarket where you usually do your shopping.
I think on the way, any kind of cafe where well, I think we know the cafe is nearby.
Yeah,
So I would
you
probably tell him before we get to the car, we do breakfast first. I will pay. And I will drag him into a cafe and I will order him a really heavy duty breakfast with a lot of fat.
Yeah.
So everything you need after you've drank too much. And
So
I
it's-
will order probably just another cafe and that's it. Maybe
Okay.
steal a few things from his plate, but
I don't know about French breakfast culture, but I assume that you can get sandwiches and stuff. Like
yeah, also eggs
Savory
and
stuff.
things like that.
Okay,
if
yeah.
it depends on if it's like a cafe where you only have croissants and things like that, not. But there are quite a few. They have a proper breakfast at least as an option.
okay, so you have breakfast, or he has breakfast. You
Worst
have
case,
some more
a
cafe.
touristy place, because if you have Brits or Americans or anything,
Yeah, they need a
want
hearty
proper
breakfast. Yeah, that's true. So you get your stuff, and he is. Let's see. He is on a 13. He's packing up.
Good.
And so basically, then you go to the supermarket. You buy the stuff that you need. He puts it in the back of the car, and then you drive on to the auction house.
Auction house.
He parks. Do you want me to go with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't ask
Lead the
why.
way.
I will
won't.
just take his arm,
Yeah. He's
and Amelie's
kind
like
of puzzled.
also like smaller than usual. And she will take a deep breath. Let's do this, and then lead the way towards the auction house.
So it's again, you go down, you go up the couple of stairs. It's just the way it looked when you first went in. So you're in the foyer.
Yeah.
There is so it's an auction house. So now the actual auction house space is closed at the moment. The doors are shut, and in the foyer there is it's not quite a guard. It's more like a concierge, presumably. And he says, "Ah, mademoiselle, what can I do for you?"
We are here to pick up something I auctioned or won yesterday. No, 2 days ago in a bid.
Oh, sure. Do you have the?
She will hand out the letter that we got sent.
All right, it's lot 34. May I ask you to step through there and go upstairs, because obviously we have this in the vault. And go upstairs to the first floor while I ring ahead that you're coming. And he picks up the phone.
Thank you.
And he says, dring. So basically somebody picks up and he says, Remy, yes, we have lot 32 coming up. Yes? Yes, she's on her way. She's got the proper paperwork. Yeah. Yes. Of course. Let me show you the way. And he basically then goes to the front door and hangs up a sign, back in 5 minutes, closes the door, locks it, and then he takes you into the actual auction house part, and it looks like it never happened.
I think Amelie will just freeze for a second when she sees that. Then shake her head and then she will move on.
Prim
She
and
will-
proper.
Also, like, can she very detailed look at the concierge? Is he not in secret one of the security with guns and uniform guys? He's just like, have I seen you before? She's kind of paranoid about everything
Make a
that
perception
happened.
check for me, please.
So let's at least see, even if there's nothing to see. And double dice again. I'm again still surprised how often you roll 2 dice with the same number. So I rolled 8. 11 plus 3 is a 14, and 3 on the stunt die.
Oh, you do remember this person, but they were there and were handing out the... he was one of the people handing out the paddles
Ah, okay.
on that day.
She will just... There's no way how I can find out who bought a certain item from you guys, can I? I would be curious.
Mademoiselle, we make it a point that we do not disclose the buyers unless they want to. And I don't think that you have ticked the disclosure information either. I can
That is
check
very true.
if one of the items that has been disclosed is of interest to you. I've got 4 that have been disclosed.
She will just think about which number it was. She's looking for the little figure that Celeste wanted to have but couldn't get.
You could also just ask for the item itself.
And she would ask blankly if the item if it was picked up, and if what happens if it's not being picked up.
So you say which item, and he says, actually, this is unfortunately not on the to be disclosed list. But what happens if somebody doesn't pick up? Well, the way this works is we send out correspondence, like we did in your case. Then we wait. If nothing happens within 14 days, we send another letter. If nothing happens, then we will try to reach this person in any other way if they have left a number. And if nothing happens, then we will go to the police. Because it is no longer ours, and then it has to go through a legal process to see
Understood.
what we can do about it. Because it could happen, I mean, it has never happened since I've been here, that somebody buys something and then they die.
Understood.
But the estate doesn't know that the sale was made. So in that case, the police would investigate if there is any information about a person dying or this person having died, and then it would be part of the estate. Then the estate would have to make a decision, do they want to buy it and give us the money, or do they in this case decide not to, in which case the sale would be annulled. But that's a very rare occasion. It's never happened since I've been working here. But in theory, that's how it would go.
Then I'm just looking through my notes if I wrote down. No, I didn't write down the name of the presentation lady. The one who led through the auction.
The one whose head was bitten off.
Yes.
Um,
I'm quite sure you gave the name during the
yeah,
session.
I'm quite sure, and I want to say, was it Edith something? Because I
That
have to
might
say,
be.
I haven't found my notes.
I didn't think she was that important, which honestly, guys, out of game, if you're in a game, write everything down, because later you will need it, even though you thought in the beginning, no. Computer, perhaps people. I didn't write her name down. If not, if we can agree, or if I have to roll for it, she would at least try to remember how the lady was called. Because she
Yeah, you
wants
do.
to ask
You do.
the portier, no, the concierge, on how she's doing.
Oh, there was an unfortunate event. She fell down the stairs in her home, and unfortunately she broke her neck.
My condolences.
Yes, this is a very unfortunate and highly unusual event. It's the first death that I have lived through since I've worked here. Death that I've lived through. Would you even listen to me?
Does he look nervous?
Make a perception check. Or communication in this case, actually.
Let's see. Double dice again. And again, 2 3s and a 5. That is again 8, 11 plus 2, 13 with stunt die of 5.
Nervous, not so much, but you do see an emotion, and it seems like, well, I mean, he's upset. Someone he knows, and you don't know how often they would have worked together, has had a terrible accident and died. And the lady herself wasn't very old. She was maybe in her 30s or 40s. So it's well before her time, you know, and completely unexpected. So you can see that there's a certain level of being upset.
She would just take that and then, follow him along the way. Still holding on to Nicola. And let's get the paperwork done.
And you go, and he leads you through the auditorium, up the stairs, and he takes you to one of these offices, knocks on the door, and then just opens it without waiting for anything. And you step inside. It's one of those smaller cubicles that you, well, not cubicles, it's one of those smaller offices. And there's a lady, and she gets up and she walks around her desk and she shakes your hand and she says, Geneviève Toury, you have come to pick up your lot?
Yes.
And she basically says, lot 32, I've got it here. And she points to the desk, and there's a little box. It's made of very sturdy cardboard, and it's got a lid that you have to lift off. It doesn't open like this, but you have to lift it off completely, and she does. And inside you see the book. And she says, so this would be lot 32. Here is the information and all of the paperwork. So if you wouldn't mind handing me the check, we will finalize the transaction.
Check. Well, I'm not sure if they would go by check. Probably you would have already wired the money and just confirm that the money is there.
Well, I'm not sure how this works, because I don't know how they.
Nowadays is not really used.
I think it kind of depends where you live, because in Ireland you always use checks when you buy a car.
I haven't seen them.
Okay, in that case we will do it differently. In this case, I'm not sure if you would wire ahead, because then if they don't give you the thing, then I don't know if it's trust based. If you just say this is an auction house and they would not want to lose their reputation, whichever way.
I think in this case it would be trust based. I'm quite sure.
Okay, so you do that, and she is happy with this, and then she closes the box, she gives you all of the paperwork in a really lovely envelope, and embossed and everything, and then she hands it to you, and she says, well, it was a pleasure doing business with you.
And I just googled. We can go by check. France is using checks quite often. Compared to Germany, where no one really
where there aren't any
at all
anymore. You can't even get any anymore. Yeah. So she then basically thanks you very much. You see that she takes the check and she puts it into a safe that she has. And in the safe is a safety deposit box. So she opens this one. It's kind of like got a combination lock. Puts the check inside, closes the lock, and then she puts it into the safe and closes the safe.
I'm just thinking about the auction was never finished, right? Because we got disturbed by the portal thing showing up. I think then Amelie would just to be curious, will there be a new date for the auctioning of the rest of the things?
Oh, you mean because of the power outage? Yes, we will have to reschedule, yeah. Most unfortunate.
then we will keep an eye open because there were things that we were interested in there as well.
Oh, please do. It would be a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And she smiles at the two of you and walks
And
around
the whole
and
time
opens the door.
Nicola is like, why the heck am I here? Why are you doing this to me?
Yeah, but he's perked up because now he's got like sensible
Yeah.
food inside him, so he's no longer as hungover. And she opens the door for you and waits for the two of you to step outside. And
Yep.
She says, you can find your own way. It's just down the stairs and then to your right. So do you want to hang around? Do you want to do anything, or do you want to leave?
I highly suspect there's no way that I can hang around and have a snoop through the auction house.
Do you want to try?
I think Amelie would be like, I will need the restroom just for a second, Nicola. Do you mind waiting? I will be right back.
Do you give him the box or do you keep the box?
No, I give him the box.
He says, okay, so downstairs is still the auditorium. There are still the seats. He says, I'm just going to sit down there and rest my eyes a little.
Maybe you go to the front already. I'll be
right.
there quite quickly because she wants to search the auditorium. So it's like, no, you shouldn't be here, darling.
Okay, so he goes outside.
You can
and
maybe
he-
talk to the nice concierge guy. I think he's quite bored.
And basically the two of them, you can see through the glass doors, he is actually telling him and pointing and probably explaining to him that you're going to use the restroom, which is why
Yeah.
he's decided to wait here. And, and the two of them are
I will
starting
go
a
in the rough
conversation.
directions of the restroom, but then I will turn. I want to have a look at this basically stage
Yeah.
first and see if there's anything that you can, any spots, any marks, anything, or is it really like it never happened?
Well, I think this is a perception, and I would say searching specialty for you, because you are trying to find traces of weird stuff. So you roll
Very true.
3d6s and add 4 to this.
I rolled 2 6s and a 4.
Okay, so first of all, a 4 on the whichever the stunt die was, but first of
The
all,
stunt
yes,
die
you're
is the
getting a
4.
stunt. Okay, so
Yeah.
you have 12, 16, plus
16
4 is
plus
20.
4, 20, and I have 4 on a stunt die.
Okay.
I know on easygoing first look it looks everything, but she's looking for
No,
the
you're
tiny
looking,
things.
and yes, and unfortunately, they did a really good job, but not good enough for Amélie Dubois.
Okay.
You do find some things. You find something that looks a little bit like a little bit of a black substance, like there might have been a fire. So you basically, what you do is you look, and you also kneel down, and as you get up again, you touch the stage, which is open on the side, so it's closed on the front, and you hold on to it, and you pull back your finger, and you see this isn't dust, this is like residue from a fire. You sniff it. Definitely smells like charcoal.
Yeah.
Something's burnt here. And you also find something else. You find a metal splinter, like maybe from a saber or something, and it's got an edge. So it's like, the guys with the sword fighting, maybe something broke off, but this is kind of like it's not serrated, but it's like the edgy part of a sword. And it is about the tip of my little finger. So maybe 1.5 centimeters long. Well, no, 1 centimeter, like this. So
Yeah.
it's not something that escapes the eye if you know where to look, but It was also kind of pushed under the stage, so maybe somebody was sweeping and was doing it too vigorously, and it just basically slid under. So you find this.
I will pocket it. I will take a paper tissue and I will wrap it or put it in the put it in my handbag or in my jacket pocket probably. And the doors were locked, but they were locked from the outside. And there were the
on the evening.
Yeah. And they're escape doors, so I'm quite sure if I open them now, we will have alarm set off. So, yeah, I think that's all that she does. Then she will join Nicola, that we can leave. I think for her it's more a little bit of confirmation that all of this really happened, and it was not a drug trip or something like that. It really happened. And yeah, she would just show up. Sorry, it took a bit longer, but ready to go now.
Good. So Remy waves at the two of you and says, well, a bientôt. It was nice meeting you.
Have a nice day. See you at the next auction, maybe.
And as you step outside, you see that he pulls out a newspaper and he starts reading. So you are right, he is bored. He's quite a chatty fellow. I believe he was quite happy that I was there because he says we're the first to show up after the auction, and it's terribly boring.
I'm curious how much we'll pick up the things after what happened.
Why? What happened?
Well, let's say the power outage was scary. And it was not well organized to be
scary. How? I mean, the lights went out, so how scary could that be?
Well, a lot of people were in the room and everyone was running around into each other, panic, not really nice.
All right. Maybe next time I should go with you because you clearly need a chaperone. If you're panicked by some
nice
lights.
Idea, I have to say. We will see. We will see.
Shall we
they
just
have to do a next auction? But I think
take the groceries home.
Yep, let's bring the book to your aunt. I think she will be happy to get it in her hands.
So you get into the car. What kind of car would he be driving?
A small Peugeot or Citroën. Something old, small, has a few bumps in there. Because I always remember in Paris, don't pull the handbrake when you park because you will be shoved back and forth when people try to get in and out the parking place.
Yeah.
For Germans, unthinkable.
Yes. So basically, it is just like that.
Yeah. But it has 4 wheels. It's driving,
and it's got a roof.
It's got a roof.
So you drive home. He parks the car. He takes the groceries. You get to carry the book.
I will take the book.
So do you take the book into the shop?
I would help Nicola with the groceries first, and then I will take the book to the store because I suspect Isabel is in the store because we both cannot be there. So, but I can give her then I can do the rest of the shift.
Okay, so she's very happy. She looks at the book. She sits down with it. She starts leafing through it. She's wearing gloves as she's doing it, and then she says, I'm not even sure that I want to sell this. It's a lovely curio, don't you think?
You can sell it whenever you want. You can keep it for a while and then decide.
I'm gonna keep it for a while. We'll see. And she basically actually takes it next door. She doesn't leave it in the shop, and you have the rest of the day to yourself. There are a couple of incomings and outgoings. Some tourists come by. They buy some. You've got bric-a-brac as well. So you've got some kind of like French stuff. So they buy some French curios, and So how do you want to spend the day? You have a customer every so often, but you're not really terribly busy. But it's paying for your shift and then some. So
I will definitely be online trying to find more about power outage and everything around, just to get a picture of what they say what happened, because I definitely have no idea what they would say, and also to be curious if I can find any kind of like gaps or any kinds of like, oh, they messed up.
Okay, so first of all, you find normal information like on the websites of the normal French newspapers. And it just says that there was a power outage in the whole block. And it was caused by some drilling that had been done earlier when there was kind of like when they were doing some construction work. And it seems like they drilled into a cable tower. And at some point, when then people turned on the lights, it basically overheated and then it started. There was kind of like a cable burn, and that basically took out the power. It took them about 5 hours to find and replace the thing. So during that night, it was dark and there was no power for several hours. But then by 7 o'clock the next morning, everything had been restored. And that's the story, and it's the same everywhere. You know, depending on the type of newspaper you take out. Some just report on it. Others say, well, it's because the left is in power. Others say if the right was in power, it would be even worse. You know, that kind of thing. But they all stick to the same story.
Auction house explicitly.
Make a. They really have to roll. Make a perception check. And again, you can use the searching because you're searching particularly for this type of information.
That is 11, 14, 18.
The auction house is only mentioned insofar as they list some of the buildings that there's also a department store not too far away, which was also out of power. And it meant that they had to send everyone home as well. So there were still people shopping, and everything went. All the lights went out, and something happened so that all of the because there was it shorted. The sprinklers went off. So this now has a problem. So now this is kind of like a case for the insurance company, and the insurance company may actually try to sue the French municipality, the Paris municipality, because, it was a French public works of Paris thing that happened. So the department store remains closed because it's full of water. It's been flooded.
Then in between, I will look for Celeste's blog. Because she told me how it's named, and I would be curious if it's still there. And then I would take a probably long sloop around about all the different things she placed and posted and wrote there.
Okay,
if it's still there is the question.
The blog is called The Mystery of the Triangle. And it is there. However, no post since before the incident. So the blog post that you saw that she did that she made is no longer there. The stuff that she really talks about is she deals a lot with Latin American and Egyptian archaeology, and who built the pyramids and why did they build them, and could they have built them because the Egyptians didn't have a wheel. And she basically goes on to refute the idea that it was aliens. So she says that they were built by humans, so she's not completely crazy. But she does say that all the evidence points to the fact that they were stargazing devices. She does concede that people were buried there as well. She doesn't dispute that, but she says that the idea was that it was kind of like a stargazing thing, and that when you look at the constellations like they were several thousand years ago, they would have been looking at blah, 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 and then she names a constellation, which is considered the one that is most likely to house intelligent life, and we all know about the wow signal and blah blah blah. So she essentially believes that the truth is out there, aliens are real, they have been visiting Earth, and they may have been using the pyramids as homing beacons. And she cites many studies and kind of, but every time she says something, she always brings some kind of evidence. So it's not, I mean, she quotes books, she has schematics, blueprints, and things like that.
So it's not just ideas written down.
No.
She tries to go there still from a scientific point of view.
Yeah. And you find also an impressum, which basically gives her name, because you have to have if you have a website on this, you have to give kind of like a name and an address, which is the address that corresponds to the place where you went. So it's her real address. And that's about it. No, sorry, it's actually not. It's the address of a place called Otaku Central.
Okay.
Do you want to Google that?
Yes.
So Otaku Central turns out to be on the Rue Saint-Jacques in the 5th arrondissement. And it's a comic book fanboy store where they sell manga, where they sell everything Japanese, where you get little Pikachus and that kind of thing. And they have a website. You can order rare manga. They've got kind of like a second, third hand shop. They have even a rare manga selection area. And there are pictures, and you can see her in one of those pictures. And she looks super cute. I mean, she's smiling and everything. And some of the otaku really kind of like for them, she's probably the goddess, because they're fanboys. But now there's a girl, which is great. And she seems to work there.
Noted. I think she would still, the rest of the shift at least, she would try to Google search to see if her video was magically still somewhere there. So different names, different... I don't know. She will just like give it a try, because they can't have found all versions of it, can they? That was a poor roll. That is... Well, it's a 14.
No, if it's somewhere, then it's buried somewhere so deep in the interwebs that you can't find it.
That would be all. That would be her being busy between people coming in buying things until she has to close the store, lock everything up. Maybe go through with the broom just a little bit, like cleaning everything a little, and then...
And of course there are cats that will kind of like sit on you and sit on the laptop and try to sit on the customers, you know.
Come on, guys. Dinner time.
Oh, you said the magic word.
Yeah.
Meow!
I will open the door towards the other house and then just like lead them over. They know the drill. When the
somebody
shop
looking
is
through
closed.
the window just sees 6 tails walking past you. So there's 7 cats in total.
Prepare dinner for the cats first.
Of course.
And then we'll have a look if Isabel and Nicolas, if they already settled on dinner, if we cook something.
Toulouse is kind of trying to get the first helping.
You don't deserve that, young man.
He rubs against your leg.
Troublemaker.
He tells you he's bestest cat. You're not falling for it, I see.
He's getting some scratches at least.
So you divide the food, make sure that they don't steal from each other.
Yeah.
Basically, Isabel says, we haven't really decided what to have for dinner yet. Do you have any preferences?
Not really. Should we just throw something together?
Okay. So she opens the very well stocked pantry, and she basically takes out things.
I
And
will just help
ends up
cutting
making
and mixing
ratatouille with some chicken and
potatoes.
Yeah, so very good, very French, very healthy, hearty, and of course there's wine with the food.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how would you spend your evenings normally?
I think normally she would either sit down and have a little chat with Isabel, maybe watch some TV with her, because I highly suspect she doesn't have a TV upstairs. The TV would be downstairs in the living room, because there are always cats that like attention and cuddles. I think sometimes she would do, I think all of them, Nicolas as well as Isabel, would also be like card games or like a little round of that. And if not, she would be upstairs reading. I think she's big into reading or drawing arty thingies. Although mostly reading and studying, just for university. And this is also something where she's like, oh, tomorrow I really need to go back. I missed out. And she is ready to start her normal life again, hoping that something like the auction will never happen again. The only little thing that she will keep an eye open, and you already know that, but for the viewers as well, she will look out for a little figurine that at least goes in the same rough direction than the one that Celeste wanted to have.
A little statue of Kukulkan.
Because Amelie is extremely thankful that Celeste basically stepped in and made a decision that is probably not 100% in line what she really wants. And Amelie is very sure that if it weren't for Celeste, Amelie would not be on Earth anymore. So, so she will keep an eye open for that. But the rest would be daily business again.
Okay, so basically you set a Google alert for, like Latin American deity figures, Kukulkan /
And I think I would also tell Isabel that in case she has something like that or she sees anything like that coming in, that I would be interested if it's not too expensive, obviously.
So essentially, time passes, you go back to university. So tell us a little bit about your university life. Because you study, but you also have you work there as well, don't you?
Yeah, because you need to also practical. So for restoration, she's learning quite a bit in theory about how art was made during the different periods, which materials were used, which artist, how and what, just to know that. And then she has the practical part where she's jobbing as well, is really restoring paintings and old furniture and old vases, cleaning them up and new varnish on them and she loves it, and she's a very good student. So she is really always on time, very focused. I don't think she's not unfriendly with the other students, but I don't think she's too close with them. It's more like hi, bye, and weather is nice. And maybe talking about the study itself, but not so much on a private level.
Okay, so a couple of days later, as you're sitting in your, workshop, I guess, with one of the paintings that you're currently basically cleaning, your phone buzzes and you get a text from Isabel.
Okay.
And the text contains a little picture. So it's basically a WhatsApp. So it contains a little photograph of a white jade figurine, maybe about 5 centimeters tall, of the god Kukulkan. And she says, this one is open at an online auction, going at $50. Do you want me to bid on it?
Panic, writing back, yes.
Okay.
Max out at 100.
All right. She takes back all right, and then basically
Call me if it's going towards 100. Maybe I decide I want to spend more on it.
will do. She lets you know, and then basically
I am not working now. I'm staring at the phone, just like refresh. Come on, there must be a note.
okay.
We can do it.
She sends back a text. I got it for $95.
There will be the happy confetti emoji back. I will send you the money ASAP.
She sends back a smiley emoji and a high five emoji. Basically then she says, and then she gets back and she says, it'll be FedExed to us.
Perfect.
And then she says, oh, it's Canadian dollars. So it means it's a lot less because 1 Canadian dollar is 61 euro cents. So
Okay, I will make a conversion or look online.
so it's less than
what
60
today.
euros. It's less than 60 euros.
She will round it up, make it a nice sum, and will PayPal or send it over to Isabel.
She takes back a couple of minutes later. Thanks, received. It'll be sent to the shop.
Awesome. See you tonight.
See you tonight. And then a couple of days later, because FedEx actually is very quick, as you are in the shop, the FedEx man comes in. Ding dong. I've got a delivery for a Miss Amélie Dubois.
That's me.
Brilliant. You will need to sign, Miss Mademoiselle. And he holds out.
No problem. She will
And he
do the
hands you
signature.
a box, which is like, it's super packaged. So whoever did this were kind of, they took a whole roll of duct tape and basically taped everything over this thing and then stuck your name and the FedEx label on it. As you unpack it, you see it's a sturdy cardboard box with kind of like a lift-off lid.
Mm-hmm.
Inside is bubble wrap. And in that is then packing peanuts. And then inside of all of this, you see the statue of Kukulkan. It's about 7 centimeters tall, white jade. Looks exactly like on the photograph. Mm-hmm. And also some information about that the provenance is unclear, but it's definitely Latin American and it's definitely older than 373 years. It's 375 years. So it is older, but it's definitely late period. It's not high period. It's not, so it's, but it's definitely, it's post-Columbian, but it's definitely old. It's a real antique. But they also say that these are quite common, so it's not like a rarity, which also means that's why it was quite inexpensive, as it were. It's not cheap, but it's also not really expensive. So you now have a little statue of Kukulkan in your hand.
I think Emily is she didn't even think she would find a figure like that. So now she's like, do I send it? Do I just drop it in her at her apartment? Because I know where she lives.
Yeah, you do.
Do I visit her at work? That would be quite intrusive, wouldn't it? Do I just write a letter with thank you? Do I talk to her? I would be curious if she's okay. And in the evening, she will then show it also to Isabel and give another big thank you. And she would see that whenever one of the next days she is not working, she would go by the comic shop.
Okay, so you make your way to Rue Saint-Jacques, 5th arrondissement. You
And she
arrive at
would have
Otaku Central.
wrapped or put everything back in the box and wrapped it with a bow.
That's lovely. So basically, you check out the opening hours. So they don't open until 11, but then they're open quite late until
Okay.
let's say 2200 hours, because they also offer gaming nights. People can come there and play Magic.
Okay.
So and you also see on the website that they have different evenings when they have like tournament play, but also free play. You walk inside.
Yes.
What is your if we look at a Venn diagram and we have otaku, fantasy, that kind of thing, manga in one, how much is the overlap to your life?
I think she likes fantasy novels generally, but that's also a nice fantasy movie is also quite nice, but more on the generic pop culture level. She knows of magic and the manga and very, for her, nerdy things, and but she's not really into that. I think she can't even say if she's into that. She just never had the contact to it, and there was no drive into. She knows a few comics, but more like Asterix and fun little things that you have. That probably, especially Nicholas, is reading here and there, but not really. That's not her scene, not at all.
Okay, so and I think that there's quite a vibrant French comic, isn't Tintin or Tintin? Isn't he French?
Yeah, Tintin is one big one. There are quite a few,
and that's also
Belgic,
one that has been going on for a long time. Tintin has been around for several decades.
I'm not even sure. Are they writing new ones?
I don't know about that, but it's been around for a long time. So basically,
it has been. But I don't think that it's still. I honestly don't know. I've read them as a child, but I never looked if they're still around nowadays. But I know that the French, Belgium corner, they are quite famous, at least in Europe, for comics. So
yeah,
it's not like manga, but it's still nice. I really enjoy them.
Yeah. So you walk in and it is probably a lot larger than you would have thought by looking at the pictures, because they have many, well, first of all, you have all of these shelves and they have mangas and more mangas. And then there's also a shelf where they have videos, so basically anime. So you see DVDs, you see tables like of up to, that would seat up to 6 people, but they're like, those kind of like camping tables that you can fold up if you want to, and like plastic chairs, so not ergonomically sound, but
It's working.
if you're 12 then your back is still fine. And decorations, like there are things hanging from the ceiling. You see Powerpuff Girls, which you may have seen. You see Sailor Moon stuff, which you have definitely seen, even if you don't like it or don't want to see it. You can't unsee it. It's all there.
I think she's just indifferent. It's not her scene, but she's not against it. It's not like negative, offensive. So it's more like, that at least someone took a lot of care and work into this place.
And I mean, some of these things would have been on French TV, so even if you didn't watch it, you would have been aware of Sailor Moon. You would have been aware of.
I think the big ones.
They also have like the Studio Ghibli stuff. So if you don't know about this, then you would suddenly see that there are anime.
I think
and
Ghibli,
even
she would have seen 1 or 2 movies at least.
possibly
I suspect.
Totoro.
So also again the ones that are more. I think she would have watched for sure. I think that's probably the closest to Asian storytelling that she got.
And you notice that there are also, I mean, first of all, there are patrons in the shop, and interestingly enough, it's What time did you go there? Afternoon or morning?
In the
Did you come-
afternoon.
Okay.
I would suspect I
Although-
would do then the morning shift, and then in the afternoon, Isabella or Nicola would take over in the shop, and she would go.
Interestingly enough, it's afternoon, so basically school's already out, but the 5 patrons are all grown-ups, so they're all adults, and they are. 2 of them are sitting down and are discussing something, and they have a couple of manga in front of them and probably are either about to buy them or have already bought them and are now engrossed in conversation. And other ones are basically strolling around. One of them is talking to the person behind the counter, which, lo and behold, is actually Celeste, and is asking her to order him Vampire Hunter D. He wants the anime version, and he wants the anime version of Blood Plus. And she basically takes it down and she says, Blood Plus may take some time because we will have to order this in Asia directly, but Vampire Hunter D is something we can source in Europe for you. And then basically she takes down his details and she says, I'm gonna send you an email when the stuff comes in. And then he says thank you and he walks out.
We'll step closer to her.
Yeah. Oh, hi.
Hi. Vampires. That's a new turn.
It's a very famous Japanese story which has been turned into, well, it exists as a manga, but it also exists as a very nice anime. I really like it. It's very shall we say melancholy?
Bloody?
That's true. Although he's kind of like he doesn't really want to be a vampire. He hunts vampires, but he's a vampire himself, so it's kind of like a.
Sorry for intruding on your job. Might have overstepped with this, but I have something for you as a thank you for saving my life. And she would just put the little box
Saving
on the
your
table,
life.
and
that is too much credit. I think you had them very well in hand. I think by the end they were a little bit frightened of you.
no, I think they would have murdered me blankly without blinking. At
She
least that one
basically
dude would have.
Looks at the other people and says, would you like to come back to the tea kitchen?
Yeah, if I can wait if you can't take a break.
Do come back. They will be engrossed talking about, they collect. And they've got a couple of things that they want us to look out for, rare comics, and they are now discussing. So they're going to be there for
The
another 2
collection
hours.
aspect, Amelie clearly understands.
So she takes you back to the, and it's now you see those kind of like, those cardboard cutouts, the larger or the largest life ones, so they've got this, and it's a Power Ranger or a Ninja Turtle. You take your pick. It's a Ninja Turtle. It's Michelangelo. And somebody has put a shawl around his neck and given him a hat, a funny woolly hat, so that he doesn't get cold. And she says, tea, coffee?
Coffee, please.
She makes coffee. And she offers you biscuits. And then she says, well, shall I open it?
Yes.
Well, I'm curious. She takes out, now she is kind of like, probably something you can relate to. She takes out a very thin scalpel-like knife and she cuts very carefully around kind of like the duct tape and then lifts it off like this is precious because she doesn't know what it is. And then she gets to the heart of it and she sees the statue and she takes it out. She says, where did you get this? This is wonderful. And it's a beauty.
I have to say, my boss looked out with me for a little figure like that. And by accident, she stumbled over an auction in that was the only way I knew how to give you a gift as a thank you.
Oh, you saw me bidding for the one that I didn't get. Did you?
Yes, it was a nice one.
Oh, this is so...
I tried to get that information on that one, but they were quite shut down about it at the auction house.
This is so thoughtful. Thank you so much. I didn't really expect anything like this, and you don't even know me. Wow.
Again,
how much do I owe you?
Nothing. As I said, thank you for saving literally my life. Also, I was curious how you were doing after all this insanity.
She looks to the front and she closes the door and she says, well, I would say it has kind of changed my life.
I hope for the better, not the worse.
It's
just different.
I would say it's... Maybe we should... I mean, we could discuss this somewhere else when my shift is over. If you're interested.
I would be scarily curious.
She smiles at you. And she has... I mean, she really looks really cute. And she's like this kawaii girl. When she's interacting with people. And she says, I don't think it's that scary.
When does your shift end?
She looks at her watch. In about an hour.
Do you have anything for a newbie in all of this that could keep someone busy?
What are you interested in? I've got everything. I've got post-apocalyptic romance manga. I've got well, I could... How do you feel about good ghosts?
Ghosts would be fine. I'm also fine with vampires, I think. It should not be too smoochy romantic, I know.
Vampire Hunter D is not... How about Helsing?
That sounds... That might be something. At least I know
it's got vampires. It's got the British Museum. It's got crazy... I mean, it's all about Alucard. Yes, that's an anagram, and it's a stupid one, I agree. He's a vampire, and he works for Lady Integra Helsing, who is the granddaughter of Dr. Van Helsing, and she works for the British government, and they basically do all kinds of weird stuff. It was turned into a series once for MTV at the beginning of the 2000s. Very, very nicely done. I really liked it. But it's also got a manga series attached to it, so I can give you this. And then I've got this, and she pulls out a book from a pile of books, and it's called Chits. And you see kind of like a tumble dryer, and inside is kind of like one of those ghosts, you know, the ones that looks like they're just wearing a sheet, and it's kind of sitting there, and it's being tumbled. And she says, and this is the wholesome one. So the story about this is there is this lady, she works in a and I'm not giving anything away because it's the same on the blurb, and she works in a laundromat. And she meets this ghost. His name is Wendelin. As she's laundering the sheets. And the two of them become fast friends. It's really lovely. It's very wholesome.
That sounds really nice. Then I will just plonk myself in the corner if that's okay.
Sure, and do take your coffee.
Do I need to buy them, or can I just carefully read them? I will not break.
You can just read them. Loads of people just come in, but please don't start drawing from them.
No.
We don't want people to start copying, because that's then, reading is fine. Take your coffee.
Thank you very much. And she will take the coffee, she will carefully take the books, she will sit down. And if Celeste watches, or whoever else watches, Amelie is very careful with the books. So the coffee is far away from her, and she will very carefully open the books just as far as she can read, not too much. She doesn't want to really ruin the books because it's not hers. And she starts, I think, with the Wholesome Ghost one.
And basically you see kind of like, then there's a panel where the ghost is kind of, as you leaf through it, the two of them go for a walk, and then, the ghost tells her a little bit, and then he's really sad, and then you basically, even in the picture, he's kind of like hunched over, and he's hovering like a foot above the ground, like just this sheet. And they do lots of things with his eyes. So, the big Puss in Boots eyes, or the sad eyes, or the smiley eyes, and really lovely, really well done.
So girls, are they really manga? So you need to read them from back to front, because that would be something
Hellsing
that
is.
at least
Hellsing
because
is,
there
the other
Emily
one
would
isn't.
in the beginning would look at the end, would be like, what the heck?
Yeah.
That's a weird start to what? And then she would get the idea of it's the wrong way around.
Yeah, Chits is not a manga, it's a comic. And it's read from
normal as we
left to
have
right,
our
yeah.
books.
I just had to think, we start on the
left
and then
to
we turn
right.
to the left, yeah. But the other one you really have to turn around.
Because it's quite, if you're not used to it, I learned that also because I started one comic row that was really drawn and written in manga style. So, and it's quite, my brain had to struggle in the beginning, like, other way to look at, or because I always want to start on left side. No, don't start on left side.
And it's kind of weird as well. I mean, I find it hard to get used to.
It feels wrong. It feels wrong all the time.
Yeah, it does. I agree.
It really does. So I'm quite impressed. I think you get used to it if you read more regularly, but especially in the beginning. And for Emily, it would be the first time. She maybe heard about this, but now she's really, with the Helsing, she's really like, oh, no, okay, again, this way. And she would just sink into the books. I think she would just blend out what is happening around her.
And Helsing is kind of like really in the manga style, so with a lot of those lines that indicate something's moving quickly, they have a name. And it's really edgy, and kind of like there's lots of angles, whereas the Sheets one is more like, I would say maybe European style comic. And also the color palette is different, because Helsing is black and white, and this one actually has full color. Sheets has full color. And so after about, you want to say 40 minutes, 50 minutes, somebody walks in, a guy, he's carrying kind of like one of those huge Slurpees with a long straw and kind of, and she says, Ben. Really? You know that this isn't good for you. You know that when you drink those Slurpees, then, you always get kind of like dizzy because it's the sugar rush. Did you bring something else to eat? And he's like, yeah, and he holds up one of those jambon long baguettes, and she's like, okay, does it have cheese on it as well? And he nods. She's like, all right, then just get changed, and I will then pack up. And he walks back and hides. He doesn't speak at all. Maybe he can't, or maybe he won't. And then he comes out again, and he's changed. Now he's got kind of like a manga related t-shirt, and he's wearing a baseball cap. And then he plants himself behind the counter, and then she says, all right, so I'm off. And she leaves. She basically comes towards you and she says, ready to go?
Yes, just she will read one or two pages more, and then she will carefully close them down, and she would hand it carefully to Celeste.
She puts them into the shelves.
Then let's go.
All right. How did
she
you like
would just
them?
wave to the dude behind the counter. Bye, have a nice evening.
He just basically looks at you. He waves kind of absent-mindedly, and you see that he's also looking at something on the counter. He's reading something, so he's just like, never mind him. It's It's only 5. He will wake up at around 8.
Okay.
He always does the evening shift, so 5 to 11.
It makes sense that you will then, during daytime, be not that fit.
Yes, he's also, I don't know, and then he doesn't go to bed either, because then he basically, you know, he
So
spends
classic
all
night
his
owl.
time
Classic night owl.
on the internet. On the internet. And so she says, so what would you like? Shall we go for dinner? Something to a bistro? Because I'm hungry.
I'm open. Pick something. You know best what is around here, I suspect.
So you go to a bistro where you kind of get small meals but warm. And she says, so, and it's kind of like a busy place, so that when you're talking, there are other people talking as well.
Yeah.
So it's a little more difficult to overhear what's being said. And you basically find a nice place at the back, and they know her. So they say hi, and then one of the waiters comes and he hands you 2 menus, and basically then she also orders a Coke. And then she says, I can recommend the Breton salad, and I'm gonna have that. So I can also recommend it. And then basically she says, well, what you saw was real, even if we don't find anything on the net. It's they
Well,
purged everything, but it did happen.
I found proof. It's definitely happened.
You found proof? How? I was
Well, as
told
I
that they
said.
cleaned it out.
Well, quite sloppily.
She gives you a wide grin.
I found some soot, probably, or like fire residues.
Yeah, soot.
Definitely.
That was the word that I'd been looking for all the time. Soot. Yeah.
And I found a piece, maybe of the swords or something similar.
They would be so angry if they knew.
Well, whoever was the cleaning crew, they're not getting an A+ for the job. Although, honestly, if you go through on first sight, it looks completely fine. And I met one of the people that were definitely there at the auction with us. And they really don't seem to remember. It's just quite unfortunate that the poor lady that did the auction broke her neck at home by falling down the stairs.
Oh, is that the story?
That seems to be the story, but he believed it very much, so they definitely brainwashed some of them.
All right, so basically, not everything is as it seems. What happened?
Which is quite counter to what you just said, that it really happened.
No, I mean, that's not what I meant. It did happen. But this, all you see here is also real. It's just as real as the portal that we saw. But there shouldn't have been any portals. Not on Prime. Because Earth is the Prime, which is too stable to have portals.
I believe we just listen and try carefully to process what she's hearing.
So you have heard of this physics idea that there are many worlds and not just the one?
Mm-hmm.
That is true. However, unlike physics, where they believe they just happen because somebody made a decision which was so groundbreaking that another world branched off, that's not how it works. There are alts, alternate worlds, alternate Earths, but they are made by a conscious decision.
I hope not by anyone. So I can just sit down and decide, I will create a new version of this.
No, you can't. It's quite an elaborate
That's good to
process.
hear, because there are a lot of crazy people out there that we don't want to have that power.
And there is a group called the Ition. And they basically make sure that these alts are kept clean.
They were the nice people or the dude that wanted to kill me?
I think that they are both nice in their very own ways, although that one guy, he was totally crazy. But there is another thing that you have to kind of... I cannot prove it, but you can believe me or you can't. But what you saw was a portal to another plane. Not to another world. Not to another Earth, I should say, because there are also planes that are very different from our world. Very different. They're not like Earth at all. They can be...
I'm happy to hear that these things are not on our Earth usually, because that
And
would
they
be
shouldn't
even
be.
more scary.
They shouldn't be, because Earth is completely governed by the laws of physics, as we know. And physics is the opposite of chaos, and the planes are more or less chaotic. Some more so, some less so. But what you saw, this planar activity, that's what we would consider chaos, and it shouldn't be manifesting itself on Earth. As a matter of fact, the Ition is tasked with preventing this from happening. And it did open, and something came through. And this was followed by a group called the Sodality coming through as well, because they should prevent portals from opening to Prime.
Were those
At
the
their
sword
end.
guys?
Those were the sword guys. Some of them were fighting each other because apparently there was some kind of misunderstanding or whatever. I have no idea. But the fact that the gate opened and this entity managed to escape was a big mess up on their side. And
You said escaped. They didn't catch it? It's
oh, they
still
caught
around?
it, but it should never have escaped to our world to begin
Okay.
with.
But it's not around anymore.
No.
Okay.
They did away with it. And then, of course, they made the big mistake of interfering with humans, which they shouldn't have done in the first place either. The fact that they accosted us, the fact that they kidnapped you or me as well, they should never have done this. So what you saw towards the end was the Ition, that is of Earth, telling off the Sodality people and telling them to get the hell out of here and leaving us alone, because they would have been interested to hear what we saw, because it turns out we may have seen more than other people.
I highly suspect no, everyone saw the same thing as long as they looked.
They are pretty sure that...
You could not oversee what happened up there.
Well, there are those that can see through the veil. And the Sodality put up a veil. But I don't know what you saw, but I saw a large hand and some kind of monstrous entity coming up and biting the head off this woman.
Mm-hmm. I can draw that thing if you want. I will never forget that.
It's something we should not have been able to see, but we did. They believe it's...
You mean other... But what
For
did
other
they
people,
see
it really
happen on
was a
stage?
blackout, because the Sodality tried to erase our memories, but that didn't work for all of us. It just worked for them. So the guy who says that he believes she fell down the stairs actually never saw what happened. He really truly believes that everything was plunged into darkness and that there was kind of like a little bit of a panic because there were so many people in the room. And you and I didn't see that. We saw what really happened.
This is quite creepy that they can do something like that.
It is, but it's also a way of protecting us because you don't want people to know what's going on. Because that shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have gone on. It should never have happened to begin with. They were trying to save their asses. They were trying to save...
Are they from our Earth?
The sodality? No.
Mm-hmm.
The Ichion is.
They looked human.
That's another very long story.
Means they're coming from a different Earth thingy?
No, they don't necessarily. It's just that...
They can change form?
No, not either. It's more like we share a common ancestry with them.
That sounds very bizarre.
I know, but it kind of corroborates everything that I've always thought was true.
At the same time, shouldn't mankind know about this? Although when I think about some of the people, maybe not. Aliens. Alien monsters.
I've had to rephrase that for me. It's... Let's say they are not of this world.
Which mean alien.
Yeah. But some of them look so much like you and me.
Still alien.
Extraterrestrial.
Not from our Earth.
Not from our Earth, yes. Anyway, so I spoke at length with those Aetion operatives. And they also explained to me what happened when we tried to get the ladder. And it moved.
Yeah, the magically poof went down thingy and you had the headaches afterwards?
Yes. It turns out that I am one of the very, very, very few people who can do magic on Earth. It's very rare.
So it was magic.
They call it kana, but I would say magic sums it up quite nicely. They're still trying to understand what my abilities are, so I go and train.
So you can move things by thought.
The side effect is getting migraines and throwing up, so I don't think I can. It's more like I'm able to, but at this stage I shouldn't. But they say it gets better with time.
That's a cool thing.
They're also very interested in you.
I can't do a thing like that.
No, they say that you're not magical, but they say that you're Jaina, like me.
Excuse me, what?
It's our ancestry. We are also not of this world. Well, you and I too, are from here, but there was a time when there was somebody who came here, blended in, looked just like the rest, and gave us their genes.
Means my family are also not from this. That would explain a lot. Sometimes.
Just think of all the times when something really weird happened to you that you couldn't explain.
Well, the weird things happened because I know exactly what I did, so... Well, it was not weird, it's just unfortunate. But interesting. But I feel normal.
Oh, trust me, you are perfectly normal. There is nothing wrong with you.
I can't do special things. At least not that I'm aware of. I'm a hard worker. I know how to draw a bit. I'm slowly getting better in restoring old paintings.
It doesn't have to be that you know something and can do stuff that other people can't. In my case, it's just a chance thing.
And I can see things sometimes that others cannot.
That is more to the point.
I cannot remember any scenario where I saw something that someone else did not. Except the big
There's
drama
a
at the
first
auction
time for
house.
everything.
How do I know
What?
that I see something that others can't?
Usually I would say it's quite obvious when you look at something and something happens, nobody else reacts to it. Dead giveaway.
Definitely never had that so far.
It could be that it was simply sleeping. Because what happened there, opening a portal into this world, was a massive shift in the veil.
The others really did not see that.
No. Which is why the Sodality should never have kidnapped us, because this is not their turf. They're not allowed to do anything here. They can only ever observe. But they were so terrified because everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong, and someone died. Because the lady is dead. There is no ways about it. No matter what you say the cause of death was, she's dead and she will never come back. So they messed up big time. And there's going to be consequences. Apparently there's this whole political apparatus that's now been set in motion. There's going to be...
need to find out who did this, who opened the portal, who sent those things, who caused a power outage.
Well, the power outage was caused by the Sodality to kind of hide everything. The portal opening, okay. They believe that it may have something to do with one of the items. They still are not sure which one, but Aition has made it...
closed doors that no one could get out was also the Sodality? Because it really felt like someone really prepared for no one getting out of this room alive.
You see, the thing is...
You're not part of the Sodality.
No, it could well be that somebody was bribed by whoever opened the portal. The portal wasn't opened by the Sodality. The Sodality wouldn't do this. The Prime is a place where the Sodality is not allowed to operate, and opening portals onto the Prime is strictly prohibited. So, well, to cut a long story short, the Aition asked me if I would want to work with them, and I said yes. So it means I get free access to their very large archive. I spend a lot of time in the library.
Did you at least look up if Area 54? 5? 1? Probably there are more. Are real?
It depends on the world that you're on. But yes, it's real.
And you looked for it in the archive?
Yes, I did. The truth is out there, Scully.
So they have no clue what it is? This could happen again, like here, in the middle of the bistro.
Probably not, unless you are carrying the item that they may have been looking for. Are you carrying an item from the auction by any chance?
No.
There you have it. So it's unlikely to happen here. Like I said, I mean...
Maybe they are keen on the figure. Although then they would have visited us at the shop.
You mean the book?
No, figure that I gave to you.
But that didn't come from that auction.
No, but there are maybe other things they're interested in.
Well, hopefully not, because then every single collector, every single auction house, and every single museum on this planet would be in danger. Let's hope not.
Did they check that the items they gave out are not extra spooky?
The Aition is trying to investigate.
I hope they did that before we all picked up our stuff that we won at the auction.
Did you receive a letter?
I received a letter and
this
we
means
picked up the book.
They've vetted it.
Okay.
But they still have one issue, and that is that they don't have enough people who do art. You see, the Aition is a group of normal people. They all have their specialties. We've got people who are good with computers. Then we have people who are good with maths. Then we have people who are into art, folklore, writing, literature. It's like the Secret Service, a very, very secret service, but it takes all kinds, you know. So we have some that are more into wielding a weapon and trying to protect stuff or people, and then we have people who look at stuff and read books. Unfortunately, art and art history is one of the profiles that they haven't been as successful in recruiting for. So it means people hitting the books and trying to read up on stuff and trying to understand what it is that they're reading. And I can tell you, and you would probably agree with me being an art historian, that's really difficult, and it's actually not up my alley because I'm more into archaeology. And none of the stuff comes from Egypt.
But can't they just, I don't know, have like a sensor thingy that goes over something and then they know this is the important item because this has some extra vibes?
You would be surprised what they can do with regard to everything that's physics related. But if it's magical, it's a completely different level. They couldn't even track me down. It would have been impossible for them to find me if it hadn't happened. They couldn't track you down. It's not like, and you are highly magical compared to everybody else on this planet, but they couldn't find us just like that. Otherwise, they would have contacted you years and years ago.
But if you read up on things, you know the art history, but how does that help with finding out this is special? Because there are always items that have no history.
Yeah, but you can try and find out where their provenance is, what they meant to the people who created them.
Yeah, and what it was made of and things like that, but... So, if you find something that is not typical to what we know, that would be then something special?
Or maybe something that was used in a very special way, or considered special by the people who made it. You see, what is religion other than magic if you just believe strongly enough? So if you have like a cult object, maybe at some point in some history it did something.
That's an interesting way to look at this.
It could well be that it turns out that we have a sister item to another alt where they have similar items. They're talking about maybe going to one of them and retrieving it. You see, the alts are not like our world. They are like Earth, but Earth at different stages. Some of them are more technologically advanced. Some of them are still in the Pliocene. There are alts where you can still see dinosaurs roam. There are alts where they are now in post-apocalyptic warfare. They are all very different. Some of them I've seen descriptions of I wouldn't want to go to. Some are not too different from ours. But it could well be that they decide that maybe if it turns out to be an item, they want to go back in time. You can't go back in our time, but if you find an alt that is closer in time to this artifact, you could go there.
So,
I mean, I know that there is a world that is about 19th century, Victorian age. You would be able to go to Victorian age France and Paris and see what it's like. I'm curious myself.
there are other alien groups on the other Earths,
Yes.
and they kind of work together.
They kind of all come from the Prime. And then they move to the alts.
So there are people from Earth moved to other Earths.
I believe that they prefer the terminology Prime and alt. So this is Earth. This is the Prime. And then you have alts.
It sounds very human to say where we are from is prime.
Well, as a matter of fact, it is the prime line. The other ones came later.
Amelie is just letting it sink in. In her mind, it sounds totally bonkers. Totally bonkers.
And I mean, I agree with you. It's difficult to believe, but I've been to an alt because I said before I sign up for anything, I want to see this. Because seeing is believing.
You can just travel through different.
No,
to
not
different
just.
worlds.
You have to. It is a process, and it involves a lot of physics, which I didn't really listen to carefully when they explained it. But yes, you can. You use a process called arcing. Don't ask me exactly how this works, but yes, you can.
So it's like a portal, just stepping through.
Oh, don't ever call it a portal. Because it's not. Portals are chaotic. This is physics.
So it's like a door. Elevator.
I sometimes think it reminds me more of beaming. They take your particles and throw them through a wormhole, kind of.
That sounds even more disturbing.
It's the physics of our universe. It works. It's actually a tingly sensation.
Well, beaming was never done so far in this world. Except in the Star Trek and all the other movies. The beam me up Scotty is more the fictional thingy.
Well, I mean, what do you want me to say? You wanted to know what had happened. This is what's happened. I'm not expecting you to believe this. I'm just telling you this is... You can say that I'm crazy.
No, I see that you believe what you are saying.
I do.
It still sounds all very crazy in itself. Who had the idea that more of this insanity planet is needed out there?
To be quite
that can't
honest...
be a good thing.
I think this is something that I will probably never learn. The one who's behind all of this? I don't know.
Also, that would explain why other planes want to get to us.
Why?
Because if the other Earths are behaving like our Earth, we're not very friendly.
Oh, it's not a problem at all. We go... Well, the sodality has... You see, the sodality is kind of like a... The sodality is an official body that has only one directive, and that is to find sentient life and to protect it wherever they go. Except for the prime and the alts, because it has been decided, and I think this was a long time ago, and I mean a very long time ago, that because Earth is so different from the other planes and so unchaotic and so static, it should not be touched, and planar travel should not be encouraged. Also, it's very difficult from where we are, but it is possible, as we saw. A portal opened.
It sounds so wrong to call our Earth static and non-chaotic. Have you watched the news? It's getting more chaotic every day.
Yeah, but I think the difference is this is chaos brought about by humans, whereas the other one is chaos brought about by the universe, or whatever you want to call it. I think there's a difference. And if you consider this planet chaotic, I've learned about some of the other worlds There are worlds that are plunged in eternal darkness where demons reign. I mean, that's probably chaotic as well. Or maybe static, depending on how rigorous those demons are. And again, how do you define demon? If there's a demon, are there angels as well? What are they like? There's, like I said, there's a whole world out there, and we've seen glimpses of this in our literature, in people's fever dreams.
Yeah, it sounds like that some of the stories that were written down have inspiration by this. Also some movies and shows, mangas.
And we know that people from other planes have come here.
So my neighbor could be from another plane and I wouldn't even see it.
Oh, you would. Because
For
you
hell.
can see through the veil. Does he look very different?
No.
Chances are
Could
he's
one
normal.
of the cats be from a different planet and I
Don't
wouldn't
get me
see it?
started on cats. Cats are very, very mysterious.
Well, I know that. I'm living with 7 of them.
Well, then you know all about it. Cats are actually apparently available on every single plane of existence. They can live everywhere. They are very adaptable.
Well, you can't kill them, so...
No, they have 9 lives.
Yes. So I can very carefully offer, if you're stuck on one art piece really, really badly, I can have a look at it.
That would be brilliant. How do you feel about libraries?
I like libraries.
Splendid.
As long as it's on this earth.
Oh yes, it's on the Prime. It's the French National Library, but it's kind of going to be a little bit different from what you may remember.
I haven't been there in a long time. Probably with, I don't know, I think we visited it with the school once.
In that case, everything you'll see will be something that you haven't seen before. Put on comfortable shoes.
I can do that.
It'll be a lot of walking. It's huge. Thank God they've got lifts.
I'm curious. Still skeptical. It sounds all a bit bonkers.
I understand completely.
Should I give them the one piece they missed?
The one piece they missed? Oh! Hold on to that for a while. I'm pretty sure that at some point you will know when is a good time to hand it over, or to just even flash it at them and say, look what I've got.
Oh, because we are talking to the Asian group now.
Aetion,
And
yes. Well, I will tell
who
you
missed
this.
up is the other
Sodality.
one.
Well, you see, the thing is, there are also, I won't lie to you, some gruff people in the Aetion. Some of them are military types.
So
They
the
have-
dude again that wanted to kill me is
He was
Aetian?
Sodality. No.
Okay.
He was Sodality. And actually, I think he was just so mortified because he didn't know what to do with you. If he had had time to think, he would have called in Aetion and he would have said, can you please talk to these people because they are special and they are your responsibility. Because you see, once somebody is discovered that can look beyond the veil, it's Aetion's job to brief them and explain to them what it is that's happening. Because it can be very disconcerting. Well, it is very disconcerting. And you shouldn't just leave people alone with this knowledge.
You should also not scare them away like they did with us, actually.
That was Sodality. Aetion were the people who were trying to give us back the clothes and then take us home and then would have talked to us, but I suspect that by that time the damage had already been done.
Well, I for sure can say I don't trust Sodality at all. They are insane, and they are not doing a good job.
I would say that the squad that came down this time really is incapable of doing a good job. They were really messed up. But I hear that we usually have a very good relationship with them. They also prevent the soul trade.
The what?
It's forbidden to take a sentient's soul and sell it. And they have an eye on this.
It's not getting better. You can take souls? What?
You can't, and I can't either, but apparently there are ways in which this can be done.
But someone could take my soul? I wasn't even aware I have one.
Excuse me? What do you think? What do you think you are? Of course you have a soul. I do too.
I'm bones and blood and cells and water. A lot of water. A lot of water. And when I'm gone, I'm gone.
Hate to break it to you, but no. There is more to us than that. And we're not the only ones. There are very, very many species, races, whatever you want to call them. They have an immortal essence, which you can get and which you can sell.
To do what with it?
Honestly, I haven't gotten to that part, but the Sodality's job is to ensure that the soul trade, which was apparently rampant across all planes in the past, is kept at bay. There are still soul smugglers, but even the demons don't want to do this. Even they agree that a soul has to come willingly.
Emily will probably
Drink her wine.
more of the wine.
You need alcohol.
Well, it's a lot to process. And a lot of it sounds, again, very bizarre.
I agree. But you wanted to know how I was doing, and this is what I have been doing. I have been going over these things in my mind for the last, how many days? 10 days?
Around.
Mm-hmm. And it's been crazy. I mean, seriously, even just going to the library, it's like 10 stories underneath the roads of Paris. It's underground, 10 stories deep. It's not just books. They've got all kinds of things. They even told me that, the Ark of the Covenant, all of this stuff that Indiana Jones was looking for, it's real. It's not here in France, but it's real, and they have it. She drinks some wine and she says, "This is all that I can tell you. I don't expect you to believe me because I understand that it's hard to believe. It's really hard to believe, I get you. But I can tell you I'm not crazy."
As I said, I can tell that you're not lying. You believe what you say. It sounds like gibberish on my end.
I agree. It does.
So we are all Optimus Prime. Okay.
And in case you're wondering, it doesn't mean that if you go to another alt, you would see yourself.
That doesn't make it better.
Why?
This parallel Earth thing is weird enough. But it's bizarre that there are other... Well, clearly if I go to something that is like 1900, it would be weird to see me because I was not existent then, but I could have maybe met then my great-great-great-grandfather. Maybe too many grands for that.
Each alt will develop differently. So in some alts,
No Abraham Lincoln creating the USA.
or maybe being shot before that, or someone who's very important dying in the Civil War, or the Civil War not happening. No United States. I mean, I know of a prime where there is no United States, but Canada owns everything, and it's still a British dependency.
She will fill in more wine. She will quietly take another sip. Well, I guess you just let me know when you need help and where I need to be with sneakers on.
Do you have any plans on Saturday or Sunday? They're open every day, 24 hours.
Sunday would work. Saturday, I have to be at the shop.
I'll pick you up at 10.
How do you know where to pick me up?
I don't. I thought you might you might tell me.
Or
We could also meet at the
meet?
Porte de Glinancourt.
Yeah, let's do that.
You have to be careful, don't you? Because I could be a mass murderer.
No, but the people I live with will ask questions quickly.
When I show up, do I look so suspicious she looks down?
No, if anyone shows up, they don't know.
Do you
I
live in
don't
a
have a big
convent?
circle of friends, kind of no friends, so...
How?
I'm busy.
Oh, I see. All right.
Well, there's Nicola, and clearly Isabel is always taking care of me. But, yeah, that's more or less it. And they will ask questions if people show up.
Then I'll pretend I've never seen you before in my life. If I ever meet you with them, I will just walk the other way.
Oh, we just need to say that we met at uni, in one of my courses, and that's it.
I don't go to uni.
You're missing out. So much to learn.
I don't know. I guess I don't like that kind of learning.
But it's so interesting.
I like reading books on
Well,
my
you
own.
can read. I have to read a lot of books.
Well, maybe you can teach me some things.
I can try.
Okay, so then it's a deal. 10 o'clock on Sunday.
Emily will reach over,
And she shakes your
handshake.
hand. And yeah,
Have a nice rest of the week, I guess.
you too. And
Enjoy the
basically-
figurine.
I will. It's going to get pride of place in my digs. And basically then she asks for the check and you split the bill.
You split.
And then the two of them leave and you say your goodbyes. And then she goes off in one direction and you go
And
off
I
into
in
the
the
other.
other.
And at this stage, we're going to leave the two girls for 2 weeks because it's 11:30. And I thank you for playing. And we all thank you for listening and watching.
Pushing on with the story after a rough start.
I hope it's been picking up.
I'm so curious on more of this. So I like the world setting a lot. So it's really fun, but it must be really bizarre. So it's
It
like
is very
trying
bizarre.
to think in
yeah.
Emily's. I've never read this. It's like what? It's no, that can't be no. It sounds like a very
quite bizarre.
fictional sci-fi story.
It
that you are
can be
telling me.
anything, because you can also go and decide to go to an alt, for example, that is like Lord of the Rings. It could be a
Yes,
fantasy, high fantasy, whatever. This is the thing, you can go anywhere and you can play
the
any
setting
kind
is-
of game. Yeah.
The game setting is amazing. So
Yeah.
thank you for leading. And then, looking forward to in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks' time. And
When
for those
we
of you who are
visit the
interested, you can
library.
also check out a book series called The Invisible Library.
Mhm.
Which deals with similar ideas, and which I don't know if it was influenced by this or if they influenced each other, but the author is also an RPG author, so a lot of these things and themes can be found there, and it's a very good read.
It is. It's really fun.
Yeah. So talk to you soon, and bye.
Bye.